This Team EJP 175 Betting Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and today is a very special day because it is a standalone truck episode. The few and the far between, Cody, this season that we've had a standalone truck episode, but we made it, and there's plenty of odds out, and we get to talk about trucks by themselves today.
Most importantly, Rod, can you hear me this time?
I can hear you this time.
I've been battling some technical difficulties over here, but I think we got it figured out finally, so that's good. But we don't get a lot of, just truck episodes. We get a decent amount of Xfinity episodes because truck is like IndyCar and takes 3 months off at a time. But we get just trucks this week, and I'm pretty excited to talk truck series.
Absolutely. I know that Jess is not in the chat right now, but I'm sure this is her favorite episode of the week because she definitely loves herself some trucks. And again, as we said, it is playoffs for everybody now, and this is a cutoff race for the truck series. So extra stress, maybe not for Layne Riggs or for Corey Heim as they're both locked in, but there's a lot of stress around the cutoff section of this truck series. So we'll see a lot of action. And of course, we're in New Hampshire, which makes it even more actionable because this track has always produced some pretty fun, especially not necessarily truck races, Cody, because it's the first time they've been here since 2017. So that's a fun new wrinkle as well.
First time in 8 years, as Ash points out. So, of course, Christopher Bell won the most recent truck race here. A little fun fact for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's Christopher Bell week. Marcus predicts that Christopher Bell will win the truck race, even though he's not entered into the truck race, and we'll sweep the weekend.
I wish he could be, Rod. I wish he could be, because I'd be getting out the brooms. Don't worry. I found a way to work Christopher Bell into this episode, so stay tuned.
Of course you did. But I will say that also lends to something just kind of fun, too, in that with the truck series not coming here since 2017, obviously we know that there's a lot of young truckers and that they haven't necessarily been there. But not just that. This is the latest that the New Hampshire race has been in a while, too, because it's normally in June or July. But now that it's a playoff race, that means it's even later in the season, which doesn't mean that we're going to get any rain because New Hampshire does not have any rain in the schedule, but it's going to be like 71 degrees in the middle of the day. So I don't know if temperature is going to make much of a difference. And then, of course, we know that New Hampshire has no lights, Cody, right? So there's no night racing in this.
Yes, Christopher Bell learned that the hard way back in 2021. And I learned that in a great fashion because I cashed a long shot bet on Eric Almirola to win that day. Which would not have happened if NASCAR did not shorten the distance due to the impending darkness. So thank God for no lights at New Hampshire, that race at least. But hopefully we won't have any issues with that this year. Of course, they do have wet weather tires, but it doesn't look like those will be needed like they were for last year's Cup race.
Thank God, too. The one thing that I know that NASCAR did not get right is the wet weather tire rollout. That was the most disappointing part of it. The whole, I mean, look, we know that F1's been doing it for a while, but
But hey, you got to give them credit for doing it. They're figuring it out. We're getting it more places. It allows us to race when we wouldn't otherwise be able to. I'll give him credit for it, Rob.
I'll give him a little bit of credit for it. I mean, the road course is what it is, but on these ovals, they definitely have some work to do. What you don't have to do work for is checking out our SGPN app. You can find it in the App Store. Easy access to everything on the network, whether it's podcasts, whether it's Cody's game preview picks, whatever it is, it's out there on the SGPN app. Go download it from your favorite app store of choice. Well, Cody, like we said, we are at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire for this Team EJP 175, set for 175 laps around this 1.058 mile paved track for 185.150 miles of fun stuff, Cody. And that's 175 laps is going to go off real fast around this track.
Yeah. It's a short, flat track, right? So laps are going to tick off very quickly. 175 laps will be gone in no time, especially when you break that up into stages. The truck stages, I swear, it seems like you're just getting settled in half the time, and it's like, oh, end of stage one. You're like, geez, I have hardly even started watching the race yet. It's just feels like it's getting underway. So it'll be a quick one for sure, but should be an exciting one. I was just off my game yesterday and covered the entry list, covered the playoff scenarios all before the DFS show, even though probably not necessary, but we'll go over it again anyways, Rod. It is 36 entries. Originally, Carson Quapple was entered in the 97 truck for CR7 Motorsports. Not sure what happened, but they did withdraw that entry. So it's 36 trucks for 36 spots. We did neglect, we kind of were looking through the list yesterday, and there wasn't really much to talk about, but neglected to mention Christian Eckes is going to be in the 16 truck this weekend, which is very, very exciting. And we'll definitely be talking about him quite a bit on today's show. And funny story, when we get to that, we'll have to cover. But other than that, the entry list is pretty much the regulars. Corey LaJoie, of course, is in the 77 for the rest of the season. Honeycutt, just a reminder, over in the 52 truck, where he'll be for the rest of the season. Brent Cruz is back in the 1 truck for Tricon. But other than that, pretty much your normal cast of characters in the truck series.
Yeah. And actually, to go back to your point, too, as far as the stages are concerned, stage 1, 55 laps, stage 2, 55 laps, stage 3, 65 laps. And then you tick off the 5 or 6 laps that it takes under caution. And, it definitely takes some really short stages in this one as well. So a lot of fun to be had with all those drivers that you said. And, yes, Christian Eckes, one of those drivers, which we will be keeping our eye on as well. Andrew's a little steamed there about the trucks. He's
our buddy Shandy. He's upset because Michigan's going to lose to Nebraska this week, so I'll give him a break there. I know he didn't have a good week in the trucks last week. Andrew's been hitting some hella good bets, and he's been making a bunch of money off the Detroit Tigers. He's a big Tigers fan, so he's been raking in the dough betting against them the last few days. So shout out to him for that. He's the one who hit the AJ Allmendinger. That was the name I was going for. 100-1 top Chevy a couple weeks ago. Andrew's doing just fine. Got to give the trucks another shot, Andrew. This is the week it works out for you. I know it's going to happen.
Well, and Shandy and I see eye to eye on a lot of things, especially in the Discord and all the drivers that we mutually do not like. So I'll give you a pass on that one. But yeah, come back. The truck series, I think this week will be a very fun and profitable adventure because, Cody, I will say we did wait a little bit for the books to catch up and give us some a full slate, and they did. And I feel like they gave us some good odds.
Yeah, I feel like, we got some great options. We got some good odds. We both filled out a full card with we've had that issue in the past where it's like, let's cut back a box maybe because there's just not enough bets, but there's plenty of bets to give out this week. So I love that. Also, Andrew's going to be betting on Nebraska. Good to see. I'm glad you're going to make money on the Cornhuskers this week while you watch them beat your home team in Michigan there.
Absolutely love it. All right. Well, like you said, you already laid out all of the, I guess we could do it now, right? I think we probably should kind of go over the playoffs.
Playoffs? Let's go over the playoffs.
Let's go over the playoffs.
So yes, this is, again, the truck series kind of runs a little bit differently. Only 10 drivers. There's only 3 rounds. So after 3 races, they cut from 10 to 8. So only 2 drivers get eliminated rather than the, 4 that we see in the other series. But so 2 drivers will get lopped off here, and then we'll head to the round of 8 where starting with the next race, you'll be able to start locking yourself into the championship 4. Corey Heim, Layne Riggs, they've won the first 2 races this round. They're already safe. We're going to be talking about both those guys today. Of course, they're both the favorites in this race. Shocker, right? But they're locked into the next round. Daniel Hemric sitting pretty at plus 51. Majeski sitting pretty at plus 46. Enfinger and Ankrum, they're feeling pretty good at plus 29. Caden Honeycutt's plus 18. Raja Karuth plus 14. And then below the cut line is Jake Garcia minus 14. That can certainly be made up. Chandler Smith minus 24. I think that could be made up too. It's not going to be easy. He's going to need a good day. He's going to need a Karuth, a Honeycutt, a Garcia, at least 2 of those guys to have bad days, but could make it up. He's obviously had a brutal first 2 races of this. And he's a driver who he should do really well this weekend. I think that both of us have left him off our card because I've gotten burned by him the last 2 races now. And Boji Joe, you're right, buddy. I shouldn't have bet on him last time. I'm sorry. But I've now learned my lesson, so I won't be betting on him this time. But he's definitely a guy who could be in the mix for this win, even though he's not worth betting on.
And that's exactly the point, and that's why he's not on there. He could probably go out and win. And I probably could have put him in an outright situation as well and just taken that. But boy, it's going to take some work, and he's going to have to muscle up. And he's the kind of driver, though, as well, that when he starts to run on raw emotion, you see the mistakes. You see him pushing situations that he shouldn't be in. Yep, and that's exactly what happens.
Well, that's what happened in Darlington. He was just trying to run the wall, very frustrated. And so, we'll see how he bottles that up this week. And if he can use it for good, it could certainly. Did you get a surprise in your drink there, Rob?
No, I hit my mic arm and it just surprised the heck out of me. I'm sorry.
It looked like you took a sip and you're like, "Oh, that was a lot stronger than I thought it was going to be."
What's in this water? Is it vodka? What's in this vodka?
Wait,
Is it
that
water?
wasn't water.
Oh man, live television. That's fine. Yeah, and that's again. So with Chandler Smith, that's why he's not on our card. Do we think he has the potential? And honestly, I put this in the show notes. What else can go wrong for him in these playoffs? And I guess the conversation is to be had because there's folks that are probably going to believe that Chandler Smith can get it done, and especially needs to. He can make up the points, Cody, but wouldn't you just rather win and get in if you're Chandler Smith because your teammate's good?
Yeah. I think they'll be taking that approach, right? That they need to go out and win. But you think about it, and in 2 stages, if he could win the 2 stages, that's 20 points right there. If Karuth, who's the last guy in the playoffs, doesn't get any stage points, suddenly he's only 4 points behind him. Now, that changes the ball game. So they're going to have to be aggressive when it comes to the stage racing, I think. Actually, that's probably the approach I would take is do whatever you have to go win the stages. But it'll just depend where the cards fall, right? He might not have that opportunity. That might change what they end up doing. But it can, 24 points can very easily be made up, especially, a guy like Raja Karuth. We're going to kind of talk about it here as we get into the picks, but not a guy you have a lot of faith in at a short track like this. So it's going to make for an exciting cut race, I think, for sure.
I agree. TK is saying, so is it a pit stop race unless Riggs can pass the entire field like the last race? Honestly, listen,
Which
TK. He's going to. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this because with the trucks not being on here since 2017, so many new guys, they don't know how the trucks are going to handle. They don't know what to expect, and it's just too much.
There's a lot of unknowns, right? Because we haven't been here since 2017. A lot of things have changed since that. You look at the truck races we've had recently. We've had quite a few short tracks, flatter tracks. The good trucks have been able to pass without too much of a problem. So I think, and I think that our cards are going to kind of lean that way. We think that, and that's generally how the truck series is. The best trucks are going to be up front, a couple of names in particular, because that's just kind of where we're at these days. But yeah, I think that, and obviously they also have the best pit crews, so that's going to be helpful for them as well. But I think that the track will be racy. The truck series seems to not have a follow the leader problem as much as the Cup series does with this current car. Yeah.
And again, because we've seen some cars in the Cup series lead tons of laps, I don't think we're going to get that. Not just for the fact that there's not as many laps to lead, but also because, again, like you said, strategies at the end of stages are going to be huge. And so we're going to see guys flip stages. We're going to see guys try to jump out to an early lead and try to get as many points as they can. So in this instance, there's not a lot of laps to play around with. So I think we're going to see some action all race long. So this should be a really, really good race on Saturday, by the way. Don't go to your TV on Friday or Thursday. Yeah. Saturday.
Thursday last week. This week it's Saturday, so I don't mind that at all. Andrew's saying, okay, twist my arm. One more chance since I can afford to take some losses. Glad to have you back, Andrew. Welcome back to Craftsman Truck Series betting.
Or Camping World Truck Series if you are on a certain book. All right, let's start loading up our bets for this truck race. But before we do, allow me to introduce you to our friends over at MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on football and everything else. Plus, their prop builder is second to none. Their motto, bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, and I have put them to the test on that one. You can rest assured that I found some of the most exotic bets that you can possibly find on MyBookie.ag, and I'll continue to do so, but this is NFL season, folks, and I've been hammering this one all week, and the line still hasn't moved. You guys either aren't jumping on it right now, or MyBookie's just not moving the line because they believe firmly that the Philadelphia Eagles are only 3-point favorites over the Los Angeles Rams. Minus 120 for this one. It's the Eagles. I know they're on the road against the Rams, but the fact that the Rams are home dogs should give you some indication as to where you should be putting your money on this one. Philly's just going to push their way all the way to a win against the Rams, and you can ride that as well. If you go to mybookie.ag, use promo code SGPN, you're going to get a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. How about Novig? We're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market, and since Novig is an exchange, you know you're getting some of the best prices in the market. Novig is available in 35 or more states, including my great state of California, so I can participate as well. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. Of course, tonight, Cody, it's Thursday night if you're watching this live, and football is going to be on the screen. It's Buffalo, it's Miami. Ain't nobody giving Miami a chance, though. I tell you, I've seen all the expert picks, and whew, it's ugly out there.
Yeah, myself included. I had the game preview for this one, which you can check out at sportsgamingpodcast.com. But spoiler, my pick is Buffalo. I think that Miami. I watched them a lot last week because they were playing my Patriots. They're not good. It's pretty bad in Miami there. Mike McDaniel could be fired by tomorrow, I think, after this game. But Buffalo just owned Miami. I think 13 of the last 14 games was the stat. They've beat them straight up. So kind of expecting a bit of a murder. But, hey, short week, Thursday night. It's divisional game. Never know what we can get.
All I want is for James Cook to cook. That's all. Hunter, surprised you guys have a stacked betting card if trucks haven't ran here in so long. Big on Eckes, Smith, and Majeski this weekend. Look, Hunter, the fact of the matter is, yeah, they haven't run here long, but in the truck series, it's kind of not difficult because these guys that continue to run to the front, and we've got actually some good numbers on these guys that run in the front that you can kind of hang your hat on. So there's a lot to like this week.
Well, yeah, a couple things too. In the truck series, year to year, there's so many changes, especially with a lot of the main drivers. You've got your staples, the Matt Craftons of the world, and even like Corey Heim at this point has been around for a few years, but a lot of the field changes year to year. And same with Xfinity. It's not as easy to just, blanket go back and be like, oh, this is what happened last year. It's probably what's going to happen again. And I think in these smaller series, we rely a lot more on what's been trending this year. And we've had more short flat track races in the truck series, going to extra tracks like IRP when the big series were at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So we've got a lot to look at, and a lot of the races have kind of turned out the same way. So in my opinion, I think it gives us a pretty solid, data set, I guess, if you want to put it that way, to look at for what we've gotten this year in these current rides, where people are at right now, what they're doing right now. So yeah, it doesn't bother me at all that we've not been here, since 2017. And really, I guess the majority of these drivers outside of Matt Crafton probably haven't made starts here in the truck series.
Grant Enfinger probably being one of the only other ones that have been on that. Matt Mills, Ben Rhodes.
Yeah, those couple of guys with Friesen out right now, you're really down to only a few guys who have made starts. It was so long ago. A lot of them different rides. I mean, at that point, Enfinger was probably back at ThorSport in a Ford or a Toyota. Who even knows at the time? Like, yeah, so that I'm just not, doesn't bother me, I guess, at all.
No, not me either. So, all right, well then, I guess it is time to start putting together our betting cards for this Team EJP 175 in New Hampshire. Cody, where are we starting?
Well, Rod, we're going to just go straight for the jugular at the top of the show. Over on Caesars, they're offering Layne Riggs against Corey Heim. 1A and 1B, right? These guys are the best of the best. The Heim side's minus 130, but I'm taking the Riggs side, even money over Corey Heim. Spoiler alert, big on Riggs, and he's going to be in my outright section as well when we get farther down in the show. But this opens the opportunity for what if a Chandler Smith does go win? And, you know, not that there's team orders in NASCAR like there is for F1, but if Chandler Smith is up there with Layne, he's probably going to race him a lot more respectfully because he's going to be aware of the situation where Chandler might need to win. So opens those things up to what if Majeski does the Majeski things, right? Hunter said he's going to be on Majeski. He's very good short track racer. So all he has to do is go beat one car. Also, what if Corey Heim leads 174 laps and gets shipped in overtime like Martinsville, right? Things happen, and we can see that. So all you have to do is beat one guy here. It's even money. I like that. Obviously, it's the best guy in the field, and that's the problem. But I broke this down and talked about this a little bit on the DFS show yesterday where we covered the trucks as well. But if you take out the bigger tracks and just look at the short flat tracks, Layne Riggs is more of the Corey Heim of the short flat tracks than Corey Heim is of the short flat tracks. Short tracks are where Heim's always struggled. Not to say he's not good, because he is very good. But Riggs has been a little bit better. So we've had, since Martinsville early this spring, Heim dominated. Riggs was right there. There was all that chaos late. Hemrick ends up winning the race. Heim technically beat Riggs fine. But I threw that one out and looked at the 4 races we've had recently that are on similar tracks. And I tossed Bristol in there last week because it is a short track and because you saw Riggs' speed, right? When he's got short track speed, he's unbeatable. He literally almost wrecked on the first lap. Well, did sort of wreck on the first lap. Goes through all that, just drives through everyone. No question he was the best truck, right? So Heim led 122 laps, yes, but Riggs was way better. Fought back through all that, still led 110 laps and won and beat out Heim, who finished in 3rd place. Go back to Richmond a couple weeks ago. Yeah, Corey Heim did win that race, leading 75 laps. Riggs was right there with him in 3rd. That's the one of these 4 that Heim actually got the better of Riggs. IRP dominated by Layne Riggs, led 160 laps. This track's going to race a lot more like that than Richmond does, for the record. Heim led 20 laps, finished 3rd. He's still right there. I'm not saying Corey Heim's going to be bad because he's not. We know that, right? North Wilkesboro, though, Heim did dominate again, 162 laps, led a ton of laps. Late chaos and carnage, ended up in 17th, whereas Riggs just held on and got the 2nd place. So, yes, you could easily spin these numbers any way you want to be for either guy because Heim's been good, and I'm not saying he's not going to be good. He's probably going to lead laps. He's going to run up front. But on the short tracks, I prefer Layne Riggs. He's got him 3 of these last 4 sort of compish tracks, and I'm going to continue to ride the train. He's coming off of the big win last week at Bristol, dominating fashion, super fast truck. I think they're going to be dialed in coming into this one. Give me Layne Riggs over Corey Heim. Even money over on Caesars. I think Bet365 had this as well for those of you that don't get the Caesars like JDK.
And I like this coin flip because it can go either way, and it has gone Riggs' way more often than not. Obviously, we have more to say about both of these guys going through because you can't talk about the truck series without talking about both of these guys. And we'll talk about him more later. And I do like this side of it because I do like the fact that you're getting plus money for a guy that's proven he can do this and just did it recently. So,
yeah. Shout out to Antonio jumping in, says just hopped in the chat. He's liking Jake Garcia this week, which is interesting, Rod. We've got conversation on Jake Garcia coming up here shortly. So stay tuned, Antonio, because there's going to be a little bit of seeing both sides of the Jake Garcia coin here, I think.
I think so as well. All right, but let's turn our attention to Tyler Ankrum, a guy that I haven't brought up very often. I was very high on him, especially during that stretch when he was cashing top 5s like well, somebody that cashes a lot of top fives, but he slowed down since Michigan. Really since Nashville. He 17th at Nashville, 24th at Michigan, 26th at Pocono. Started to climb back up through the ranks, 10th at Lime Rock, 8th at IRP, 5th at Watkins Glen, 11th at Richmond, 7th at Darlington. Started 3rd in Bristol last week. Unfortunately, just couldn't hang on to it and finished 20th in that one. But where I'm kind of going with this one is Tyler Ankrum is paired up against Rajah Caruth in a head-to-head matchup right now. And I'm going to take the Tyler Ankrum part of this at -125. You can find that over on DraftKings over Rajah Caruth. And if you just look at straight average finish over the course of the entire season, then this one leans toward Tyler Ankrum's way. Tyler Ankrum, average start of 12.1, average finish of 11.1. Rajah Caruth, on the other hand, average start of 11.8, but just can't hang on to it. 15.4 is his average finish. And I'm talking about Ankrum kind of falling off of a ledge for a little bit and kind of finding his way back. Well, Caruth won Nashville, right, which got him into the playoffs, which was a fantastic run by Rajah Caruth. Great day for him, but followed that with a crash and a 31st place finish at Michigan. 10th place at Pocono, which is a nice solid top 10 day. 21st at Lime Rock, 10th at IRP, 32nd at Watkins Glen, 19th at Richmond, 12th at Darlington, 15th at Bristol. Not necessarily the type of runs he was hoping for as he was clinging to his playoff life. And, you know, again, can he be a top 15 truck again this week? Yeah, but I'm telling you right now, it feels like that might be his ceiling for Rajah Caruth this week, because all things being equal, and being on a track that nobody's been on in a very long time, let alone not been on at all for some of these drivers, just feels like Tyler Ankrum, with his experience, with his ability to have been in the top 5 more often than not. He's got 8 top 5 finishes this season, does Tyler Ankrum, to Rajah Caruth's 3. So to me, this is just a give the more senior driver the opportunity for a better finish, especially given that he's done that already at IRP. He did that at Darlington. Go even back to the beginning of the season, right, where he finished 4th at Miami, 2nd at Martinsville, 4th at Bristol. He won at Rockingham, had a 4th place finish at Texas, 3rd place at North Wilkesboro. All of these shorter, flatter tracks, right? These are the ones that we're looking at to kind of key in on what to expect at New Hampshire. And Ankrum's kind of gotten the better of Rajah Caruth in most of those. Martinsville, 8th for Rajah, 9th at Bristol, 4th at Rockingham, 3rd at Texas. He won, like I said, at Nashville, but 15th at North Wilkesboro. It's just, you don't have the confidence that you want in Rajah Caruth right now, being a top 10 truck on a consistent basis, whereas Tyler Ankrum, man, we were giving him out for top 5s earlier in the season and hitting him like mad. So I feel like that sort of momentum is starting to pick back up again for Ankrum. Kind of throw out Bristol out the window. That was kind of not his control. But I think he can get at least a top 10 finish, whereas I'm not quite sure about that with Rajah Caruth. So give me Tyler Ankrum over Rajah Caruth at -125 over on DraftKings.
Yeah, who might argue with you when you bring up Tyler Ankrum? You're pretty spot on with this guy most of the time, so not going to argue. And Caruth, the shorter tracks, he just is not nearly as good. I mean, the bigger tracks, that's where you get him. It's where we got the 80-1 last year. It's where he's had a lot of success, but he just struggles a little bit more on the shorter tracks. Pressure situation here. He's coming into this race 14 points to the good. While that feels nice, as we mentioned, that can quickly, in 2 stages, be gone just like that. So I think that he's going to be racing with that pressure, and I guess we'll see how he handles it, but I do not mind going against him. And Andrew, my friend, you just came back to Truck Series betting. Do not bet on Matt Crafton, buddy. I am wearing you can't tell, this is a very bright, it's being washed out by the light, but it is a Menard shirt. But we don't bet on Matt Crafton anymore. It's 2025, my friend.
It's so sad because he was once that man, right? He was that guy. And even earlier in the season, we were kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Has he had a top 5 this year?
I haven't looked at it. I don't think so, though.
I got him right here. Here's I got to switch it to 2025 because it is 2025. Let's see. How many top 5s do you think Matt Crafton has this year, Rod? 2? 0. Okay. So, yeah, do not bet on him. He's got 1 6th place, 1 7th place, and those were both 1.5 miles. His only other top 10s are Vegas, 1.5 miles. He did top 10 at Bristol last week, so woohoo, yay. Go ahead and just get into retirement there, buddy, and we'll get Ty Majeski in that truck next year. Because don't bet on Minecraft.
Yeah, and like we said, it's funny because it just leaves us speechless to the fact where I don't, and we did talk about the fact that he's got so much experience on tracks that most of these kids don't, but that just hasn't translated anymore. And isn't this it? Right? He did announce, or did he not?
Yeah,
announce?
he is retiring. Majeski's going to take over that 88 next year. So that's gonna take some getting used to. Watching Ty Majeski in that Menards 88 is gonna be interesting after he's been in the 98 truck for quite a few years. Now for Thor Sports, same team and everything, just sliding over. But I think Crafton's already been kind of put out to pasture, and I just don't think it's worth it at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think so either. All right, let's continue down our card. But before we do, I would like to tell you about our friends over at Underdog. Underdog's also a great place to play fantasy pick'em, where you can win up to 500 times your entry. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite player's stats, and it's available in a ton of sports, including high limits racing. They're going to Eldora this weekend on Friday night. Justin Sanders is given a projection of 6.5 in his finishing position in the main. I'm taking the worst then on this one. I know he's capable of winning like he did in Placerville a couple of weeks ago in a 5th place finish at Skagit, but 15th place on the earlier race at Skagit, and then a 10th place at Lernerville and a 12th place at Lernerville as well. He's got worse than in 3 out of his last 5 finishes in these mains, so I think that trend continues. Justin Sanders at Eldora, worse than 6.5 in the high limits racing portion of Underdog Fantasy. Go grab that. Plus, they got the brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. NFL's back, baby, and Rhythm is off to a great start in college football and the NFL. Rhythm's introduced a leaderboard with weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Go track 5 bets of the same type from any model you build. You can win $1,000. Looking at Rhythm right now, they've got predictions for the Chiefs and the Giants. Right now, the model's predicting the Giants plus 4.8 rather. I'll tell you that my bookies got the Giants as 6.5 point underdogs. So if they're thinking that the Giants can cover a 4.5 point spread, well, guess what? They can cover a 6.5 point spread. So go bet the Giants plus 6.5 because Rhythm's model is predicting that you should do exactly that. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25. I feel like the Kansas City Chiefs have earned the Captain Shook title, so we may need to get JDK on that one.
I think they're going to unshake themselves on Sunday night, Rod.
I pretty much think they are as well.
That's going to talk about butt whoopings.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City is going to destroy the Giants on Sunday night, and everybody's going to be like, oh, my God, they're going to the Super Bowl. It's so great.
But are they, though?
Hopefully not, but, we'll see.
All right, Cody. Well, let's continue down our Truck Series card because we know they're not going to the Super Bowl, but championship maybe.
Yeah, speaking of championships, last year's champion, Rod, moving to the number 88 Menards Ford next year. Ty Majeski, top 5, minus 120. I know Hunter said earlier he's on Majeski. He's too short for me in the outright market right now. He used to be the guy. He used to be what Riggs is right now. You get to short tracks, you just take Majeski because you win all of them. That's not been the case. In fact, Rod, do you know how many wins Ty Majeski has this year?
0.
It is 0. He has not won a single race this year. We often refer to him as the piano man. Beginning of the season was a fucking struggle for this guy. It was bad, but he's figured things out down the stretch here. Really, ever since Pocono back in June 20th, it's been all top 10 finishes for him and a lot of top 5s here lately. 4th place last week at Bristol, 4th place at Darlington a couple of races ago, 2nd place at Richmond. We like to use that as somewhat of a comp track here. By the way, led 143 laps, so he was very good there that day. 7th place at Watkins Glen even. 5th place at Indy. IRP, right? A track he used to own. Only 5th place, didn't lead any laps, so that's why I struggle with betting him to win. But just getting top 5, he should be a top 5 car. 2nd place at Lime Rock. Even 9th place at Pocono, Michigan 15th. That was kind of the last time he struggled a bit, but even looking back at other short flats, North Wilkesboro, he was 6th place in the middle of a 32nd, a 14th, a 10th, a 31st, like all of those things. He still ended up with a solid run there. He is the short flat guy of the past. Riggs has definitely taken that mantle these days, but just to go top 5, Riggs can beat him, Heim can beat him, Smith can beat him, even Eckes can beat him. That's fine. Still can fit right there inside of the top 5. Likely all those guys probably aren't going to beat him. So I think that minus 120, where, the piano thing, knock on wood, can always happen to Majeski because it's been there for years, but it was hitting very often before, and the piano's gone silent for now, Rod. So hopefully, the covers on the keys over there and nobody steps on the keys and plays any notes this week. But I think that it's a good week for Ty Majeski to just go out and have a good run. I don't think he's probably going to compete. He can compete with Riggs and Heim. I don't think he will, but I think he can be a top 5 car at the end of the day. Minus 120, I think, is a great number for a guy that in past years looked like Riggs and Heim's top 5 numbers are now, where it's like minus 1,000 for them to finish in the top 5. And it's like, why even offer a number? I don't even know. But Majeski top 5 minus 120.
Because some crazy drunk guy out there is like, oh my God, that's such a great number. I'm going to click it.
If I put $1 million down on this, I'll win like $10. Let's go, guys.
Let's do this. Yay. I'm with you. But here's the thing, man. Somewhere Billy Joel is warming up for this one. And it's sad.
Keep that piano away, Billy, for another week or 2.
Speaking of which, though, speaking of guys that's had some piano action going on, his teammate Ben Rhodes, right? It's just been such a tough run. We talk a lot about Ben Rhodes and how great he's been in his career, and obviously a championship Ben Rhodes, but this season started off so rough for him. 20th at Daytona. He bounced back for a 7th in Atlanta, but then 14th at Vegas, 33rd at Homestead. A couple of good top 5 runs at Martinsville and Bristol. 32nd at Rockingham. Jumped back to a 6th place at Texas. Boy, off and on and off and on, but 13.6 overall average finish for Ben Rhodes as he traverses into the last round of the opening rounds of the playoffs. And here's the thing. We also said, especially through that rough stretch, just wait. Let him make the playoffs and then see a completely different Ben Rhodes. Well, guess what? Make the playoffs, and now we're seeing a top 10 Ben Rhodes more often than not.
He didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, I'm sorry. He didn't make the playoffs. That's right. He didn't.
But we're in the playoffs, and he's still performing like he's in the playoffs.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like,
he just didn't get the memo that he's not in the playoffs.
This is why he fools me every time with Ben Rhodes, man. It's like you expect him to be there, but but he is performing like he actually is in the playoffs, right? Richmond, 8th place. Darlington, 11th place, but he started 21st in that race, which means he picked it back up again. Bristol started 19th last week, ended up runner-up. So Ben Rhodes, man, performing like playoff Ben Rhodes without the playoff pressure. Maybe he's just in there sticking it to you, saying, I'm fooling you, Rod, making you think I'm in the playoffs, even though I know I'm not in the playoffs. But I'm taking him in a matchup over Garcia, which is what we were talking about, Antonio, earlier. I'm taking Ben Rhodes over Jake Garcia at minus 120. Jake Garcia, he's got an average finish of 13.4 as well, but a lot of his success too came in the very beginning of the season where he was ripping off top 10 runs like he did at Homestead, where he finished 7th, Martinsville 3rd, Bristol 7th, Rockingham 2nd, Texas 21st, Kansas 7th though, North Wilkesboro 12th, Charlotte 11th. But here's where it's getting kind of dicey, right? After his 7th place finish at Michigan, a 28th at Pocono, 28th at Lime Rock, 15th at IRP, 15th at Watkins Glen. He did get a 7th place at Richmond, which is all fine and well, which he beat Ben Rhodes by 1 spot in that race. Darlington, 10th place finish, good solid finish there. He did beat Rhodes by 1 spot there too. Last week at Bristol, though, he started on the pole, ended up in 33rd place. It feels like the momentum for Jake Garcia is stagnated, whereas Ben Rhodes, like we said, is performing like playoff Ben Rhodes without the playoff pressure. So I feel like this is an instance where it may be one position that separates them both, a la their average finishing position, which is only a decimal off all season long. But Ben Rhodes has also been on this track twice before in his career. He had a 7th place finish in 2017 in the 27 Thor Sport truck, where he led 17 laps of that race before his 7th place finish. In 2016, in a Thor Sport 41, started 5th and ended up finishing in 15th. So 2 seasons of experience on this track under Rhodes' belt in the same team's truck, maybe not the exact same truck, but at least in the same team. I think that's gonna bode well for him in a top 10 day, whereas Jake Garcia learning it all again, and we've seen him make a few mistakes here and there, and I think that might be prone to happen in new tracks that he hasn't seen before, which is a lot, honestly. But yeah, I'm giving the edge here to Rhodes, the slight edge at -120 over on Caesars.
Yeah, so I actually had this head-to-head in the dock as well. On the other side, I was going to take Garcia over Rhodes, and I saw that you had Rhodes over Garcia, and I was like, oh, this will be perfect. We can disagree on it. We can all go on opposite sides. But then as I looked into it more, I was like, man, Rhodes has kind of cleaned it up here lately. Like you said, he's been running a lot better, and Garcia just still makes too many mistakes. You know, starts well last week and has a bad finish, and he's really good at qualifying well. If he could just hold the track position. And Antonio said he was going to be on him this week. I think that's fine. I think you could probably find ways to bet on him. I'd have to look at what his top 5 number is, but it's probably decent early in the week. I would take it before qualifying because he'll probably qualify well. If he can figure out how to hold on to these qualifying spots throughout the race, he can definitely have a better day. But I agree with you. I think you have to go with the road side of things in this head-to-head. So I was initially going to take Garcia, and then, as I dug into it more, it surprised me how much better Rhodes has gotten down the stretch. Not good enough to make the playoffs. They were kind of too late on the push there, but been good enough to scare me out of betting against him for sure.
If I keep thinking that Ben Rhodes is in the playoff, Cody's, you may have to find yourself a new host for trucks, because you're gonna have to wheel me off to bed and say thanks, Grandpa, for playing. It's your memory's gone to hell.
I'll give you a little grace since they only race once every 13 weeks.
I swear to God. And this is why we don't do standalone bet.
If we're in the playoffs, where we're at in the playoffs, who's in the playoffs, who even drives in the truck series anymore. Sometimes it's hard to remember.
I'll just shake my fist at the clouds, and we'll call it good from there. All right, Cody, let's go to some top 5s.
Yeah. Well, Rod, I would like to go over to, actually, I'm going to turn this over to you. Tanner Gray, top 5, 7-1. The last 2 times that I've given this bet out and allowed you to talk shit about it, he's finished in 6th place. So Tanner Gray, top 5, 7-1. Rod, tell us why this is a shitty bet.
Because he hasn't done it. And he hasn't done it in the last couple times you've given it out. And every time you give it out, he hasn't done it. The last time he's done it, it's been a long time since he's done it. So I don't see a reason.
A couple weeks. It was like 6 races ago.
It doesn't. But that's like.
Thank you.
But that was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago with 6 races ago, right? This is how often we race in the Truck Series race. But all right, yes. Cody, well, tell us why it's going to happen then.
Yes. No, Tanner Gray, top 5 at 7-1. Look, we've been playing this. You gave it out 2 weeks ago. Or 2 races ago, 6 months ago, like you said. When I missed the Truck Series show, you talked shit about it. Then I let you talk shit about it last week at Bristol when I gave it out again, 9-1. I want to say it was 12-1 when you gave it out for me. Then it was 9-1. Now it's down to 7-1. So they're picking up on it. But 6th place finishes back-to-back weeks. That's really the majority of what I'm looking at. Tanner Gray is a good race car driver in a good truck. He keeps himself in position to have a chance at these things. And at 7-1, that's what I'm looking for. 6th at Bristol, 6th at Darlington. He's done it the last 2 races, both playoff races. He's surprisingly not in the playoffs either, which I had to double check on, but didn't make the playoffs, but still performing like a playoff driver. So that's good to see. He has gotten top 5s, unlike Matt Crafton, right? Second place at Pocono that you mentioned, 3rd place at Las Vegas earlier this year, 5th place at Texas. So bigger tracks have been where they've come, yes, but the Bristol run last week was nice. 13th at IRP, 14th at Richmond, 11th at North Wilkesboro, ish hanging around there. I'd like to have better on the shorter, flatter tracks, but I'm just riding with the fact that he's been 6th place the last 2 weeks. We've bet it. If I don't bet it this week, you know what's going to happen. So we're betting it again. Give me Tanner Gray at 7-1.
I almost wish that you wouldn't have put it in there, and then he would have finished with, because then I would have said,
Cody,
what would
happen.
The one time that you don't give him out, he's going to finish in 5th place, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So
he'd probably win the race if I didn't give him out.
Oh, that'd be
sorry,
hilarious.
Tanner. I gotta give you out.
You've doomed him to another 6th place finish. Ash saying Bovada offering Riggs at +110 over Heim, and Tanner Gray top 5 at 9-1. Woo!
9-1. Beautiful. Good. They always get good lines over there on Bovada. So if that's one of the options you have, which most everybody should have that option, good place to go.
Indeed. Speaking of good place to go, how about a guy? It's a true coin flip for a top 5, but you're almost getting 3-1, pretty much getting 2.5-1 for a top 5 finish for one. Daniel Hemric, you get a plus 250 for a top 5 over on ESPN. Like I said, in 20 starts this season in the Truck Series, Daniel Hemric has 10 top 5 finishes. So half of the time that he's finished a race, he's finished in the top 5 of and then 15 top 10s. That's the crazy thing about it. His average finishing position this year, 8.8. Top 5 last week at Bristol, second place at Darlington. Bad day at Richmond, 33rd, throw that out, but second at Watkins Glen, 7th at IRP, 9th at Lime Rock, 5th at Pocono, 4th at Nashville, 4th at North Wilkesboro, 2nd at Texas, 3rd at Rockingham. He won Martinsville, 5th at Homestead. I mean, the guy has just been tearing it up in that old that old Eckes truck. And Cody, you've given him out time and time again. This is the one top 5 that you give out that actually hits. Daniel Hemric, a top 5 truck, and for good reason, right? Plus 250 for him to do it this week. I mean, listen, it's just all about consistency. And with him, on a coin flip, then you're going to take I'm going to take the side that's giving me plus money, and that's plus 250 on a top 5 for Daniel Hemric. Like I said, man, it's just that top 5 at Bristol. He withstood a lot of stuff and just kept himself clean and in the race. And
what he does.
Yeah, he was there.
He's so good at it. And yeah, I talked about him yesterday on the DFS portion of things. Gave him out as a great DFS play because he's so fucking consistent. Getting him at plus 250 just to finish in the top 5 when he's going to be 5th to 10th the entire day, run around that spot and be right there. So you love to see that. Update, by the way, on the Matt Bush, a.k.a. Matt Crafton. Well, if you got to keep up with the chat, really, for the joke. But Andrew said that Matt Crafton used to be good here 10 years ago. And I said, just like Kyle Busch, he's good everywhere if you look at his past stats. Not the case anymore. But apparently somebody's been betting that down to 11-1. So, yeah. Shout out to Earl checking in. I don't think I've seen Earl before. Hey, Earl, nice to see you. Matt Bush, a.k.a. Matt Crafton, old guys who aren't as good as they used to be.
Who no longer have the sex appeal of the once that they used to have. So, unfortunately.
Kyle's got a lot of sex appeal if you watch his wife's Instagram stuff here lately.
My God. It's like Blue Chew on crack.
Hunter want to know about my boy Corey LaJoy. I got the picture. I rearranged the office, but the picture's still here. We haven't really seen it. He's not raced much in the Cup Series lately. The picture's here. No bets on Corey LaJoy this week. Sorry. No. Top 5. I looked at it. It's like plus 250 range. He'll hang around. I don't know. I'll find good ways to bet on him. Oh God, I hope the trucks go to Talladega in a couple of weeks. I need to look at that. I really hope they do. But either way, all right, Rod. On to my next bet. I'm gonna go with the young gun. Brent Cruz. He's going to be in that number 1 truck once again. Take his top 5 at 9-1. This is a kid that if you don't know who Brent Cruz is, get to know Brent Cruz because it's going to be a name you're going to hear for probably a very long time in the racing world because he's an up-and-coming, very young driver. He's only 17 years old. So you might not be able to find him on all the books. Some of the books don't allow you to bet on guys who aren't 18. But he is out there. Over on ESPN, at least they've got him top 5 at 9-1. Handful of starts. He's got six career starts in the Truck Series. It's been a mixed bag of not a lot of greatness, I will say. 22nd at North Wilkesboro, but he did start 10th there, and he was running good. Had an issue late, and it was his first career start, so you got to give him a break there. Lime Rock, which is a road course-ish track, he actually ran great. Finished 8th place. IRP wasn't great, but he started good. So he's got speed to start well. Just kind of needs to figure out how to put these races together. 17th at Watkins Glen, 16th at Richmond. That's sort of okay. We've improved a little bit, right? 14th last week, or 24th last week, rather, at Bristol. Bristol's a tough track for a young guy, right? So, but you're getting this guy who's got a lot of, late model type of racing under his belt. So this is the type of track that leans into the style of racing he's from, right? We talk about the late model guys, the short flat tracks, the modified guys, the short flat tracks. These are the types of tracks he should be really good at. we've not really gotten to see, a lot of his starts, North Wilkesboro and IRP, I guess, were both on there, not good runs. But this is simply a bet on a young, talented kid who has a very bright future ahead of him. Toyota's big time behind this kid. So he'll be in the Cup Series for Ford or Chevy or Dodge at some point, because Toyota always loses these kids. But it's just a pure bet on talent, right? We've not really seen him put it together yet, but I know he's got it in there. He's in the one truck for Tricon. It's a good truck. He can go out, and if he puts together a good race that he's capable of, which we've seen these young guys come in and do, he could easily be top 5 at the end of the day. And 9-1, it's worth the stab. If he goes out and runs 24th all day, oh well, we missed out, right? Oh, it was 9-1 for a reason. Fine, but he's got the ability to run top 5. He's got the truck to run top 5. This is the type of track he should run well on. So love Brent Cruz at 9-1 for a top 5.
I think what it all boils down to is he does have the truck to do it. And that's the thing. Can he pilot that truck into a top 5 finish is really all of it that stands between you and actually cashing this bet, because the truck is not an issue. Like a lot of times when we give out these long shots, we're like, well, he's driving sort of a substandard truck that he's going to have to muscle it through a little bit, but we know he's got the talent. He just got to nurse the truck. Does he have the talent to take the truck where it belongs, right? In a top 5 finish. So I agree with you on that one as well.
And yeah, good point by Hunter too. He didn't know he was racing. He does own a truck team, sort of. It's a weird situation, but so some of those starts were for his own truck team, which I think, maybe skews it towards the worst side of things. So better that he's in this truck than the truck he owns. That's a, kind of random truck that doesn't race all the time. So I like that.
Agreed. All right. Well then, speaking of the 19 truck, as I did prior, let's talk about the former occupant of that 19 truck, Christian Eckes. His top 5 number on ESPN is plus 150. You say that seems kind of low for a guy that doesn't do very many truck series races. I know he's an Xfinity Series regular, but lest we forget that Christian Eckes and Corey Heim were going at it last season. Last year, in the 2024 Craftsman Truck Series, Christian Eckes had 4 wins, 15 top 5s in 23 starts, 22 top 10. I'm going to just let that 65% of the races that Christian Eckes participated in last year were top 5 finishes. His average finish, 5.4. How did he end the year? 3rd at Phoenix. He won at Martinsville, 9th at Homestead, 6th at Talladega, 3rd at Kansas, 4th at Bristol, 3rd at Milwaukee, 2nd at Bristol, 2nd at IRP, 3rd at Pocono, 1st at Nashville, 2nd at Gateway. Holy cow, that's a lot of top 5 finishes. That's a lot of top 3 finishes. Let's not even mince words, but 4th at Darlington, 6th at North Wilkesboro, 3rd at Kansas, 4th at Texas, 1 at Martinsville, 1 at Bristol. Anytime he jumped behind the wheel of a truck in 2024, that dude was parking it in the top 5. He did not get a good result the first time out this season in that 16 truck where he finished in 12th place after starting in 9th. But the Satori truck, still a damn good truck, still a damn good driver behind it. Who knows?
It's a McAnally Hilgelman truck.
That's true. It is. It is.
So the same as the 19 that he drove last year.
I was going to say, because here it's the Hittori truck was the 16 truck.
Yeah,
but they switched
that's
it
what
around.
It had been previously, but yeah, they're not fielding trucks right now. So
yeah, so there it is. The same team that he's running with last time. That just gives you even more confidence that he's going to be a top 5 truck this time around, and he's going to be mixing it up. Boy, I tell you, I'm sure he's licking his chops to be able to mix it up with Heim again, and now Riggs, because last year Riggs wasn't nearly what he is this year. So for him to be chopping it up with Heim again, I know he's looking forward to it. And now having the power of McAnally Hilgelman behind him, 150 for a top 5 is easy money for Christian Eckes.
Such a great bet, Rod, that I raced over to the dock and I wrote it in the dock. And I was like, good, claimed this one. I come back to the dock later and realized that I only wrote Eckes in the box. And you decided, well, I don't know what he's going to bet. So I took Eckes top 5 at plus 150.
But all I saw was Riggs. All I saw was Riggs. I didn't even see Eckes.
No, I had Eckes in the box in this, like the second box, but I just put Eckes. I meant to write Eckes top 5, and I just wrote Eckes. So I figured you're like, well, what's he going to do? I don't know. So I'm taking this one. That was supposed to be my bet. So thanks to you for hijacking that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
But that's okay. I completely agree with you on this. You read off all the stats, right? I mean, just looking through his results last year, insane. You talk about Daniel Hemric, who's in that truck that he was in now being consistent. Eckes was even more consistent. One race he didn't finish outside the top 10 all of last year. Now, Richmond was a bit disappointing. The one start he made this year, first race with that 16 truck this year, fine, whatever. But he was the short track guy last year. Riggs is now, but at the short tracks last year, the short flat tracks in particular, led 133 laps at Martinsville, led 187 laps at Martinsville, 150 laps every single lap at Nashville, 144 laps at Bristol. Like, he showed up and was really good. 73 laps at IRP, was amazing on the short tracks last year. Love his top 5. I'm also going to take his top Chevy. That's what I pivoted to since you took the top 5 at 2-1. So that's how I'm getting in on one Christian Eckes. And Ashley and 365 doesn't have Eckes listed. That's interesting.
So neither does Hard Rock, to be honest with you.
So, and I think they use the same like provider. So hopefully they'll get that updated. He did kind of just like slip in on the entry list. I didn't even notice him yesterday when we were talking about that. But for the top Chevy, he is the favorite in this group at plus 200. And we've talked about it before. While Chevy's the dominant car in Xfinity and, well, you could used to say Cup. Currently it's Toyota. But generally in Cup it is, right? And there's all these drivers. You don't have a really heavy field in the truck series. Toyota, obviously, with Corey Heim, and then a lot of the next guys on that list are Fords. So Chevy's a weaker field. Christian Eckes the favorite. Grant Enfinger's a guy you have to worry about always. Daniel Hemric's going to be consistent. But outside of that, you're down to Tyler Ankrum, who you think should have a good day. Yes, but I don't think he's as much of a competition. Corey LaJoie, yeah, 650, fine. Talladega, they are going to Talladega in a couple weeks. Rod, I'll be all over him there. Raja Caruth, Bailey Curry, like it falls off fast. Patrick Merling's next on the list. Not a heavy Chevy group. So Christian Eckes might not even need to finish top 5 to be the top finishing Chevy. So by default, you might have given me the better bet anyways. Give me Christian Eckes top Chevy at 2-1.
No, and I absolutely love this one as well, because if he is going to, I mean, like you said, it's been Riggs, it's been Heim, and not very many Chevys are fighting behind them. So I think he stands in line to be both a top 5 and a top Chevy in this instance. So, and look, if he wins the whole thing, then he's going to claim all of it, right? So that's another way for him to cash this bet. So I love it. Have more on him later. Let's talk about my next bet, which is the winning truck number. Here's the thing. So because Christian Eckes, I'm already all over, because Corey Heim is such low numbers, and I'll talk about that in a second as well. This is just more ways to get in on it if it happens, right? If Corey Heim ends up being the Corey Heim that we know and love and just comes out and wins this race, then you've got a lot of great stuff going on, because the winning truck number odd, this is how the books are a little more skewed toward Riggs, even though the outright number isn't necessarily skewed toward Riggs. I get it too, because there's a little more on the even side of Chandler Smith is out there as well. Layne Riggs, like we said, Ty Majeski's even, Ankrum's even, like some of these playoff drivers that specifically need to win are even. And so I'm going to take the odd side of this, because the odd is at plus money. So winning truck number odd at plus 110. And then I'm going to take winning truck number under 33.5 at plus 100. So this is the Layne Riggs line. This is the anything below Layne Riggs. And honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, I kind of like the under 33 better than the odd, because the under 33 covers a lot of ground on guys that we were just talking about too. So under 33 not only gets you Daniel Hemric, but it gets you Tyler Ankrum, it gets you Christian Eckes, it gets you Tanner Gray. If Tanner Gray finishes in the top 5 and ends up winning, it does cover you on Jake Garcia, so that's a way to get in on him. Get you Corey Heim, get you Enfinger, and it gets you Brent Cruz. If Brent Cruz accidentally wins this race and you didn't have anything on him. So it kind of covers you from a lot of boo-boos. Now, again, it doesn't get you Layne Riggs and it doesn't get you Chandler Smith, but again, you're going to have yourself covered on other ends of that if you decide to just put an outright on it as well. So for me, like I said, this is and I was actually going to do like a stage winning, first stage winning odd as well, just because if Corey Heim ends up going out and winning all those, or wins the first stage, like he jumps out and leads a bunch of laps like he does and wins the first stage, but Layne Riggs charges back at the end, at least you've got that cashed as well. But I think for now, I like the odd numbers, because we know that Corey Heim is probably going to go out and win this race, and you're pretty much covered on a lot of different ways if he does. And then if he doesn't, just take some insurance on guys that you think are going to win this race, like we're going to give you here in a second.
What number does Layne Riggs drive?
I get it, but like I said, this is just in case.
It's neither odd nor under 33.5.
I'm sorry. How many times has Tanner Gray finished top 5? Oh, yeah.
3, and it's about to be 4. Thank you. All right, Rod. Well, speaking of Layne Riggs, let's get to the winners. Layne Riggs plus 275. This is pretty simple. I read it off earlier, compared him to Corey Heim. He's the best short track driver in the Truck Series. I think you're getting a deal on him because Heim is in the field. Should Heim be good? Yes. Is that probably the top guy that can beat him? Yes. But we saw it last week. If Riggs has a good truck, which he does a lot on these shorter tracks, Heim just isn't competition for him. Heim has traditionally struggled, quote unquote, because nothing's really a struggle for Heim, but his worst tracks are the short tracks, and he leads a lot of laps. He doesn't always close them out. We've seen it time and time again. I feel very confident in Layne Riggs. I'm on Bell in the Cup Series. I'm on Riggs in the Truck Series. It's a chalky week. Sometimes you just eat the chalk. We're at the point in the season where we know who these guys are. We know where they're at. Put them together. ESPN has a boost on putting them together for a parlay to both win. You get 14-1. That's a pretty good number. Riggs goes out and wins Saturday. Now you got Bell at 14-1 on Sunday. Absolutely love having that. So I think that's a great way to parlay them together. I know the guys in the Discord were talking about, parlay Bell with some football plays, or I know our buddy Phil is always parlaying, winning plays with Phillies plays because he's a big Phillies fan, right? So parlay with other stuff to help move that stuff up, and it's a lot of fun. So Riggs plus Bell, you can get that at 14-1 on ESPN. And then, Rod, I'm going to take my one little insurance play. I don't think I'm going to need it having Layne Riggs, but give me Caden Honeycutt this week. He's getting settled into that 52 truck, which we know is a solid truck, right? And Earl was asking earlier, who do you think is going to be the best pick to replace Corey Heim? I think that deal's already done. I think Honeycutt's already signed to be that driver of that 11 truck next year, if I had to guess. But I'm feeling Caden Honeycutt. He comes from the 18-1, by the way. I don't know if I said that. But he comes from another guy that's from the late model ranks, and from that life, and this is the type of track he should be good at. So give me Caden Honeycutt as a surprise winner if all hell breaks loose at 18-1.
It's not bad because he does hang around. And that 52 truck, he has had to take some time to settle in. It hasn't been as good as I think he would have hoped it would be, because we saw the 45 be as good as it was when he was with it, which is why it earned him the spot in the 52 in the first place. When he got kicked out of the 45, they're like, you know what? Fine, come over here. Finish it out. Stuart Friesen can't finish, so we'll have you finish. And sometimes when you go into somebody else's house, you have to move around the furniture a little bit before you get it to where you like it. So maybe this is the race for him as well. All right. So for me, it's plain and simple. Corey Heim gets best numbers at plus 180 on FanDuel. You could probably wait till after qualifying and practice and all that stuff, because I don't think this number is going to go much lower than plus 180. But if you really want to get in on them early and you do fear this jumping down to the plus 160 realm, the plus 150 realm, and you don't want to lose out on a few extra dollars on this bet, FanDuel has the best price for him now. We just talked about him just a second ago. It's going to be him. It's going to be Riggs. You know those two are going to be battling for this. You know those two are going to end up being the two dominant trucks on the day. It's just a matter of which one it is. Cody gave you Riggs. He claimed it in the doc first before I could, so I'm going to give you Heim on the other end of that. And you take your lumps on that if he doesn't and Riggs end up winning, which is, like I said, what I think is going to happen anyways. But it's Corey Heim, it's Riggs. But if it's not, how about Christian Eckes at 12-1? We just talked about him a couple of blocks ago. We talked about him as a top Chevy, and if he ends up winning this race, he'll be the top Chevy. He'll be a top 5, and it's a mini car lift or mini truck lift rather, with Christian Eckes that we didn't necessarily think we were going to put in there. But look, I mean, yeah, the 16 truck is not what his 19 truck used to be, but guess what? Just like Cody said, it is now. It's the same. It's the same guys now that put it together. And if they remember his setups from all of his races last year, if they've got it all dialed in for him, I fear the field. And at 12-1 for Christian Eckes to come out and win this race, then I feel like that's a really, really good number for the guy that was just as dominant, if not more, than Corey Heim last season in the Truck Series.
Yeah, I really like the Eckes play. If you didn't have it in there, I probably would have put it in there. So I'm gonna be betting on Riggs, Eckes, and Honeycutt, but pretty heavy on Riggs. I think this is a Riggs race, and pick your poison between Riggs and Heim. Obviously, we've got them both up there. They're the two favorites, but look back through the Truck Series this year, they've won a majority of the races, and that's kind of how it goes. It's likely going to come down to those two guys. You always have the insurance plays in there because upsets happen and crazy stuff happens, and late race restarts, things like that get crazy in the Truck Series. But it should be the Riggs and Heim show. I'm taking the Riggs side of it. Rod's got the Heim side of it. We'll see who comes out on top. As long as Tanner Gray finishes top 5, it won't matter.
Oh my God, get out your pen and paper. Time to go over our bets for this Team EJP 175 from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I started you off with Tyler Ankrum over Raja Karuth at -125. Tossed in Ben Rhodes over Jake Garcia at -120. Said Hemrick would be a top 5 truck at +250. Eckes, a top 5 truck at +150. Gave you the winning truck number as odd at +110, and then tossed in under 33.5 at even money. Then said Corey Heim at +180. Just go ahead and take that one and don't look back. And then Christian Eckes at 12-1, just in case something happened. Cody gave you Layne Riggs over Corey Heim at +100. Tossed in Ty Majeski as a top 5 truck at -120. Tanner Gray again as a top 5 truck at 7-1. Brent Cruz top 5 at 9-1. Christian Eckes top Chevy at 2-1. Cody thinks this race is going to be rigged at +275. Then gave you Caden Honeycutt at 18-1. Took the Riggs and Bell parlay at 14-1 to win both of the races here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go. That's it. Like we said, make sure that you remember, put in your calendars, that the truck race is on Saturday night or Saturday day. So clear your schedule for that day. Tonight's for football. Tomorrow's for whatever the heck you want it to be, because the weekend's for racing.
That's right. Weekends for racing. You can have football on the other TVs too. But it's gonna be beautiful. We're gonna watch the truck race. It'll lead right into the Huskers beating Michigan. Man, I'm so excited for Saturday.
It's gonna be a fun Saturday. But all right. Well, then that brings us to the end of our week. Holy cow! That was a lot of fun.
Oh, we're done already.
We're done already.
Oh, let's go.
I know
means the weekend's almost here. Means football. Means racing. Let's go. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's weird because normally we end the week with DFS, but this time we switched it around, so now the betting episode ends the week. So
threw it off. Look at that. We ended up with an hour and 7 minutes of Truck Series talk. You got to love it, Rod. All right, let's get out of here. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Best of luck at New Hampshire this weekend. And football, don't forget, lots of football stuff out there. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com. You can find lots of work over there. And you can find all my work at Husker_Zeeb over on the X. And thanks for all the subscribes, all the fun stuff. We got access, Rod, to Spotify polls now. So keep an eye out. I'm going to start putting some polls up over on Spotify. If you're a listener over there, make sure you answer those and have a little fun with us.
A lot of fun stuff here in the NASCAR Gambling Podcast world. Make sure you're keeping up with all of that, especially in the Discord as well. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. There's all kinds of stuff going on. You can see what I'm up to. I'm fixing the links, so I can't say link in the bio anymore. TK saying, would it be funny if Riggs tried to start a catchphrase after and saying, we rigged the race? Hey.
Oh, every time I hit a bet on Riggs, I'm just going to tweet out, it was rigged.
Yeah, see? I'm surprised that hasn't started yet. Let's do that.
It's starting now. Thanks, TK.
Great job. All right. We'll see you guys next week for more NASCAR playoff action. And until then, enjoy your weekend. Good luck on all your bets. Let's go racing and let it ride.